Welcome, and we're joined by the US Ambassador to Kenya, Kyle McCarter. Thank you so much for opening up your home to us. It feels very festive and Christmassy. Is Christmas one of your favorite seasons?
It is, and we're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you for having us. Yeah. So this was your first diplomatic posting, if I'm not mistaken, ambassadorial posting. How is it going?
Well, I tell people this is the best job I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of great jobs. I mean, I've been in the Illinois Senate. I've been in, was an MCA for 8 years, and started my own companies, bought companies, sold companies in the manufacturing business. But this has been the greatest opportunity I ever have to help, to have influence and help a lot of people, and to be in a country that I love, where I have a lot of friends. Victoria and I have so many friends here in Kenya. We've got so many children that we've actually raised and supported, so my success here, I have a lot riding on this. I want to be successful, not just for a career, but because we really love Kenya and we love the Kenyan people.
All right. I like that you brought it home using the term and comparing what you did in Illinois to MCA.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, you have a long history with Kenya. When you were coming in, when you got this posting, is it something you lobbied for? Were you surprised?
Well, this is a great story. This is, I actually applied online. There was actually, the transition team had a portal where you could put your resume up. And I was sitting with a friend of mine whose father had been a diplomat. And I took the whole book of all the thousands of jobs that the government had, and I was looking for Africa, I was looking for Kenya, I was looking for development, because that's what I knew, building schools and program, helping children. And he said, "Let me see your resume." I gave him a resume. He said, "You should ask to be the ambassador." I hadn't even thought about it. And so right then and there, I changed my objective on my resume, and I uploaded it to the portal. And so I may be the only one ever, the only diplomat or ambassador to actually apply it online. But it was more than that. There was a lot of people that I had helped through my career that respected my leadership. And so they endorsed me, and I had even political leaders on the other side of the aisle, some of the top Democrats that would publicly endorse me. And so I'm fortunate to have gone through that. It was a long process, but it was worth it, and here I am today.
You and Kenya and your family history are intertwined. What was your vision? What did you hope to accomplish coming in?
I think of this as a friendship. And that's why I do always say USA Marafiki. I think it's important to say this is the American people caring for someone enough to do what's in their best interest. This is not a contract that we're going to issue this much money, if this kind of program. This is people connecting with people. This is the American people saying, "Listen, we've been fortunate, we've been blessed. We're going to take, even in the middle of COVID, spending millions of dollars in the middle of COVID when the United States was hit the worst. They spent the United States citizens spent over $1 billion to help other people when they have been hit the worst." And so even here in Kenya, the United States has spent a lot of money, but it's because of our friendship. It's because I believe, and I came here with this solid belief in my heart, that Kenya should no longer be just a country dependent upon foreign aid. We have to go from aid to trade, and I think we have to invest in the Kenyan people and walk down that pathway of friendship to self-reliance.
Would you consider Kenya, the U.S. inking the trade agreement an accomplishment?
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that I can be the one that takes that across the finish line. I believe this will be the first in sub-Saharan Africa, and more than that, it will be something to replicate throughout Africa. And so, but there's a reason Kenya was chosen. It wasn't the neighbors; it was Kenya. And so, we want to do this right. We want to do this to where investors can come and not have to be worried by the pressure to do the type of brown envelope style of business. We want to elevate this to a level of excellence and honesty and integrity that says these are the ground rules for succeeding. Because you say, I really believe this. If someone's talented enough to steal 1 billion shillings, they're talented enough to make 1 billion shillings. So why not just follow the rules?
When you came in initially, you were quite vocal on the subject of corruption. I believe, in fact, you called it thievery.
Yes.
Why the distinction?
Because I think it's a better picture of what it really is. Corruption, sometimes people have a hard time defining, and they get this kind of used to it. That's just the way the culture is. We should be rejecting it violently. And I think, when I first came in, I tweeted that it was like a dog coming into the house and going into the pantry and taking your food and walking out, and everyone pets the dog and sends him his way. But at some point, you find you're starving. I mean, that's what corruption is. But it really, if we call it what it is, some people have taken what is not theirs. They are thieves.
And as a private citizen, when you visited Kenya, did you ever encounter thievery?
Oh, absolutely. I've waited for power in Tharaka Nithi for 5 years because I wouldn't pay the bribe, so we got by on solar. I mean, I've experienced this, so no one can tell me that it doesn't exist.
Does it make you hesitant? Does it give you pause when you're thinking of donations, making more donations? When you read such stories of a passerby was passing outside the KEMSA office and ended up winning a tender?
No, I don't think you walk away and say, we're never going to give anything again. You don't do that. What you say is, we're going to do it in a way to where everybody can see what's happening, and everyone can know exactly how it goes from me to you. Some people say, well, you've been quiet, Balozi, you've been quiet. It's been 21 days. I think we may find that this is bigger than a 21-day problem. And so I'm not finished. I don't give up. People need to be held accountable. But I would say that the assistance that we provided, which is quite a bit, as I said, $1 billion from the United States in total, over almost 8 billion Kenyan shillings that we've delivered here in projects. We've delivered those directly. 200 ventilators being delivered right now. In fact, the last one will be I told my team, get them out before Christmas. And they'll be out at Christmas time. So these are the things that we've done, and we've done it directly with the counties and directly with these units of government. We don't just set things on the street and say, take it if you want it.
And when you had reports of people not being able to access ARV medication and all that, the US has been a very close partner to Kenya, or friend to Kenya, as far as the fight against HIV and AIDS is concerned. Right. Did that concern you?
No, well, listen, this is part of that transition to self-reliance. And there are parts of these programs that we've made in agreements with Kenya that this part, whether it the collection of blood and things like that, we've had agreements that those will become the responsibility of Kenya. And there's times that it's best for us as a friend to take a step back and say, now it's time for Kenya to assume these responsibilities. And that goes for HIV as well. So, and some people say, well, your program went from this, is reducing. Well, if you have success, it should get smaller. And it has, and we've had success together on this, and it's gotten smaller.
You mentioned trade and the trade agreement. Something that generated a lot of headlines the other day was a travel advisory from the US government on with regard to COVID. And if I'm not mistaken, will you allow me to refer to the travel advisory? I think I pulled it up on my phone. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
I know it. I can tell you about it.
Yeah, so I want to read Level 3, reconsider travel to Kenya due to COVID-19. Yeah. As you mentioned, so you want to boost trade between
Correct.
Kenya and the US, but you are in your travel advisory advising people to reconsider travel to Kenya. And in the same vein, you said it, the US has been one of the nations, is the nation, according to the numbers that have come out anyway officially, that has been hardest hit by COVID-19.
Right.
Isn't it then hypocritical to...
No, actually that travel advisory never changed. And believe me, if the CDC would ask me sometimes, I could give them some good advice, and maybe they'd follow it. But you know, the CDC changed their levels to four levels from 3. So the warning was the same. Now, was it confusing? Absolutely. It was terribly confusing. They shouldn't have done it. And I really, you know, I've been in the lead here to get people to come back to Kenya, because I believe that they can travel here safely, they can tour Kenya safely. But you have to remember, we were told we were going to lose 360,000 people in Kenya because of COVID. We're not anywhere near that. So Kenya has managed it well, and I give them compliments for that.
You're very active on Twitter. Do you tweet yourself, or?
Oh, my Twitter account is, every tweet is from me.
From you.
And if it looks strange, somebody got into my Twitter, because most people know they know it's me, and I respond. When people come back, I respond. But I don't respond if they disrespect my president. I don't respond if they disrespect President Kenyatta. I believe you have to respect those in authority, and whether you agree with them or not. I don't always agree with every politician, but I will respect them, and I'll still have that conversation. So if people show respect and they're not vulgar, I speak back. And sometimes I get a little colly myself.
I have seen that. So you have no qualms clapping back, as they call it.
Well, you know, listen, I mean, you know, KOT, if you don't give them a little pushback, they won't respect you. And so I think I do that once in a while, because I think it's, one, I shouldn't just sit there and take things, you know, people saying things that are not true. I think we need to be honest. And I think those honest conversations lead to good things. I
know President Uhuru Kenyatta the other day, when, I can't remember whether it was a BBI launch. I need to check on that. But he talked about being chased off of Twitter by KOT, the memes and everything. Do your feelings get hurt when people get mean?
No, I think in this business of being a public figure and being in leadership, you have to have some tough skin. And I'm not saying I never get hurt, but I try to laugh. I try to laugh a lot, and I laugh at a lot of people that say stupid things. President
Trump is one of those who's been very active on Twitter. Do you think this direct engagement with constituents has transformed the way government business is conducted?
I do, and I think, you know, some people say why, and I say, well, you know, when I first came here, I had no cell phone, I had no landline, I had an aerogram, which...
Wait, what is that?
See, there you go. I figured you didn't know.
No.
And an aerogram is a pre-printed, thin blue piece of paper that has tabs on the edge with glue. And you write your letter, and it has the postage is already paid. You go and buy it from the post office. It's already paid. You write your letter. You fold it over 3 times. You fold over the tabs, and then you mail it. And you hope that they send you one back. And that's how I communicated back home. And so, you know, I don't think, why should, we would never go back to aerograms today, right?
Yeah.
Instead, if I wanted to deliver a message to a targeted group of people, I'm going to take my phone out and deliver it. And so I think, and then there's, you know, and some news media have their own, you know, they have their own objectives, and sometimes they're not the same. Therefore, you know, what President Trump has done, he's bypassed those that didn't want to deliver his message. And I think it's always better when you go to the people. It's always better when you go direct to the people. And I think that's, you know, I've been trying to do that as well.
Okay. The US Electoral College has just confirmed Joe Biden's election as president. I think 46th. He'll be the 46th president, if I'm not mistaken, of the US. And a lot of people made comparisons where the US election was concerned, saying the Americans are acting more like Africans when Africans conduct their elections, given the fact that it was a contested election. Do you think that comparison was fair?
Well, I think any election, anywhere in the world, if it doesn't follow the law, it should be contested. And so I think that's, I always pivot to the law. Not really, it's not really what I think or what I choose or what I desire, the outcome I desire. I desire for the law to be followed. And that's why we have laws. And I think if you don't use that as a basis to ground your decision making, you run into problems. And so I said this from the beginning, the day after the election, all legal votes should be counted and all illegal votes should not be counted. And really, that's just what we just have to follow. We have to follow the laws. We have to follow the Constitution, and probably not get as emotional about it, but just follow the law.
Okay, so you don't think it was fair for those who said the U.S. now has no moral authority to comment on other elections?
Listen, I don't. That is a difficult situation. I admit this is a difficult situation given what's happened in the United States, but I think it's just. I don't get involved in that process here. All right, if we can help support and build organizations that will promote democracy, we'll do that. But really, the choice, just like with BBI, the choice is the people's. It's not mine. I'm a visitor here, and I think we have to remember that yes, we're working here. Yes, I care about the Kenyan people, but I'm a visitor. And the Kenyan people have to make that decision themselves, even on BBI. And so, and that's why I've said before, I don't believe BBI should be hijacked by the politicians. If it is indeed a voice of the people, let it be, because that's what the people decide.
It's a good thing you preempted my next question, bringing up the BBI. Why do you say the process shouldn't be hijacked by the politicians? Do you feel it has?
Everyone has their motive. Let's face it. And like I said, it just has to be what the people want. And sometimes that takes time for people to understand what it really is. And there's been a few versions of this, and there's some parts of it I think would be good for the country. There's some parts I don't think would be good for the country. But it doesn't matter what I think. And I know everyone says, oh, you're the big brother, you have to step in. No, I really don't.
There was a decision that was reported on, and that is a decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Somalia. Mm-hmm. The U.S. has been working closely with Kenya to secure her borders. Don't you think that decision could put Kenya's security in jeopardy?
This decision, this repositioning of troops, does not change the United States' commitment to taking out al-Shabaab. In fact, there'll be even a greater investment of our government with Kenya to make them more secure and to have a more focused effort to take out al-Shabaab. We've just had the head of AFRICOM here, General Townsend. We've had long discussions with Kenya's defense forces and the cabinet secretary as to how we can go forward to help Kenya be even safer.
With a change of guard, usually there will be some changes made in the administration. Are you concerned that perhaps you may not serve too much longer in the capacity as US Ambassador to Kenya?
No. You see, I told you the story about how I got here and how no one expected me to be here, even myself. I never knew that I would be here. So I think, living by faith is a good thing. I have always put my head down and worked whatever job I had and put blinders on to all the other things people said, well, you could be doing this, you could be doing that. No, I'm going to do what I'm here to do. And I'm doing the same thing all the way up until whatever that time is. Whether it's near, whether it's further out, I'm going to keep working day by day to serve serve my government and the Kenyan people.
All right, thank you very much, Ambassador. We've been speaking to Ambassador Kyle McCarter, that is the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya. He's been very gracious to open up his home to us.
Let me say, we're so glad you're here. This is a great opportunity to let everyone see our home, which we have refurbished this whole home because we think it needs to be a representation of the United States, the excellence of the United States and the excellence of its people. And then Victoria has made it so festive. And we just want to tell everyone in Kenya, we wish you the merriest of Christmases. In the middle of COVID, we can still have joy, we can still have hope, and we can have peace. So may God bless each and every one of you.